Hello, and welcome back to another episode of More Than Milestones. I am so excited today to be joined by Missy Bunch, who is an incredible all things neuro educator amongst so many other things. And I'm so excited about this conversation. We're going to be digging into brain-based treatment, applied functional neurology, the nervous system breakdown. For my healthcare professionals out there, for our lay people out there, I think this is going to be awesome. So Missy, thank you for being here. Tell us a little bit about you and where people can find you.
Oh, you're so welcome. I'm so excited to talk about my favorite thing in the world. I'm very easy to find. My name is real. people, I had a friend of mine who had known me for like 10 years, and he was like, "So, how did you come up with your stage name?" And I was like,
My parents.
"What?" Yeah, birth. I had no idea that people thought that it was like a made up
Oh my
thing.
God,
And I
that's
was
so
like,
funny.
no, like that's my name. So it's Melissa legally. Like most Melissas are Missy. That's how it goes. Like Missy Elliott, her real name's Melissa. Like it's
What?
yes, it's Melissa is Missy. That's like where it comes from.
I did not know
Yes.
that. Oh my God.
Literally Missy
Wow.
Elliott. Her name's Melissa. Yeah.
Oh my God.
I always like tell people. So anyways, I'm just cracking up because it's so easy to find me because the name is, somewhat unique and apparently can appear to be made up. Um, but no one's ever called me Melissa. So not even when I was in trouble, like it's always been Missy, always,
I
always.
love it.
So yeah, missybunch.com. On Insta, it's missybunch15. I had to throw a number on the end because apparently there's a lot of Missy Bunches, and that was I could not come up with no underscore and a period. Like all of them were taken. And this was like
Wow.
in 2010. I
That's so
started
interesting.
posting 15 years ago and my name was not available. Like, anyways, so my favorite number is 15. So I just threw it on there. That's it really. Just if you go to missybunch.com, it'll take you where all the places you need to go.
Yeah, I love it. And tell us a little bit about you, like your expertise, how you got into this, why you feel so passionate about all of this.
Oh my goodness. So this has a whole spectrum, there's a whole gradient of answers because I am a mother, which is most of your audience. And then there's also that whole professional path that I took. But short story long, short story medium is I used to be a professional dancer, 100 years ago. And I hurt my knee while I was performing. And it changed the trajectory of my life, right? Because you're a dancer, so you kind of need your knee. And you need it to do things, especially load into it.
Yeah.
So I'm doing this turn. If there's any, retired dancers out there in the audience, it's this fouette or alicicone, whatever you want to call it. And I'm doing a bunch of these turns in the middle of the NBA court, and the court is sticky, and so are professional like NBA dancer shoes. They're like cheer shoes. So
Oh.
I turn, sticky shoes, sticky floor, feel something in my knee not go well. Like it wasn't a pop, but it was definitely like an uh-oh. I mean, like I start to get temperature like I'm starting to get warm just talking about the incident
Wow.
because it was so life-changing. So I hurt my knee somehow, except all the imaging was normal and you're fine. And then pain's all in your head.
Wow.
And yeah, and I was like,
But I'm
but
not.
my knee hurts. Like, but
Yeah.
my knee hurts. Like this is not in my head. And I'm in my early 20s. So anyways, I'm performing. I go out into the tunnel, in a basketball game. There's like 20,000 people. So you just smile through it, collapse in the tunnel. All the doctors came. What happened? What happened? Da da da. Cortisone shots for like ever just to get through athletic performances. And so anyways, I'm like 4 years later. I've tried everything. Okay. Like I was doing stool samples, urine samples, Chinese herbs, acupuncture. I never missed a rep of PT.
Mhm.
Um, hot cold therapy. I mean, I would have done anything, okay? Because I'm a mover. You can't not move when you're a mover. It just
Mhm.
there's no other option. So I basically decided I have to switch careers. I make a lateral move into fitness because I was like, well, I could just use people as demos if I can't do something. And it's not a performance based thing where like I'm on a stage, right?
Mhm.
But I still get to be physical and I could make money doing that and help people and whatever. So I start to go into fitness. And my boss at the time said, no joke, this is when you put CDs into your car to listen to music and educational things. Like you could buy CDs and you put them in your car. And she was like, hey, I took this course called Z Health. And I'm like, okay. And she said, they said while you're walking, your left leg moves with your right arm during gait. And so I like stood up and like you mimic walking and you're like, it is left leg, right arm.
Mhm.
That's okay, logical. I see where this is going. I like it. So, what if we work on your right elbow for your left knee pain? I'm sorry, what? And imagine the conversation in 2025, not that weird,
Yeah.
but bring this all the way back to like,
Oh, totally.
you know, 2010. Okay. Like, no one's talking about opposing joints and like meridians and
Yes.
also I'm super young, right? So you're just like, but I would have done anything. So I go into the position where I hurt myself. I back off 10 degrees, which is kind of the coaching. Like you mimic the movement where you got injured, but back off a little bit. So your brain's not super threatened. It's just like in there. And then we did mobility on my right elbow and my knee pain was gone.
Wow. And so you guys can't see me, but I'm like sitting here nodding because this I found and follow Missy because I am a total neuro nerd and I on my list of things I would love to talk about is the power of opposing joints today. So I'm sitting here nodding because I know where this conversation is headed and I'm super excited. But I feel like hearing like if this feels totally foreign and crazy and maybe even like a little bit like hocus pocusy, like just trust me and stick through this conversation with us because it is important for professionals, it's important for parents, it's important for everybody, anyone that's navigating any sort of changes in your body, like this matters, or navigating changes in your little one's body. So just like hang with us. This is big. Okay, so back to your story. Your pain
Yes.
went away.
That's the thing right there, what you just said. That's what has me keep going after all these years is because so first of all, I wasn't happy that it worked, right? And it's like
Yeah.
important to note that. I wasn't like,
Mhm.
yay. I was not happy.
Yeah.
I was crying. It was like a matrix DNA glitch malfunction. Like that's why it keeps me going, right? Because I feel like my DNA was
Mhm.
changed in that moment. And
Yeah.
I was like, if I am in the movement industry, I'm in it. And I didn't know this. What is a regular person doing when they have left knee pain?
Totally.
That was my first thought. What is the average Joe sitting at an office in a cubicle gonna do when they have left knee pain? No one's telling them to stick the right arm out and work on the right elbow.
Mhm.
Or, hey, go tell your chiro to adjust your right elbow, or your acupuncturist, or your massage therapist. There's all these modalities. We could have been working on the opposite joint instead of your quads and glutes and hamstrings are weak.
Mhm.
That's why this happened.
Mhm.
If you look at my legs for 3 seconds, you would know that they are not weak. You know what I mean? It's like I have abnormally muscular like,
Yeah.
disproportionately, like, I'm like, "It's not that."
Yeah.
Um, so that's what happened. I was just like, "What's the average person gonna do? I'm going to teach this to people for the rest of my life."
Yeah.
And because people need to know that they don't need to go to the ER. And mind you, I'm at almost 4 years into figuring this out, right? And with almost 0 results. So if I were to tally up all the money I spent
Mhm.
on trying to figure out this knee pain, it makes me nauseous. When my boss at the time and girlfriend, it was $0 because she was learning too.
Mhm.
And I was just like, who knows what would have happened for my professional career if I had neurology back then?
Mhm.
Could I have won So You Think You Can Dance? Like, could I have auditioned? Like, I don't you like,
Yeah.
what would have happened? I
Yeah.
don't know. But here
But
we are, and this is
I
my
think
path.
that's yeah, and I think that's why this conversation is so important for everyone because everybody's going to get hurt at some point, right? Everybody is going to be
Right.
spending money on trying to feel better or giving up things they love because they're not getting better or whatever the case may be. And like having something to turn to that is powerful and really impactful is like whether it's for your kid, whether it's for you, whether it's for your partner, whether it's for your mom, like I don't care who it's for. I think understanding how deeply connected every aspect of our body is like the number one thing that I hope everyone takes from this episode. Like there is no isolation of one little thing without it impacting other things, whether that's us putting orthotics on a kid, whether that is like the entire body, you're not working in isolation. And I think even though, again, this is like a niche conversation, I think big picture, it's so important for literally every human to hear. So with that,
Yes.
Ken, let's start with like what is what is brain-based treatment in your own words? Like why does the nervous system focus matter so much?
Okay, I could take this a couple different ways. But w what's so interesting about what you just said is and you think about a mom, like a mother's role in a household, like, she's the spine, right? Like, she's the
Mm,
backbone of everything, like and if she knows a little bit of this, that, like, infiltrates, right?
mhm,
Like, imagine if you taught a 4-year-old an opposing joint. They understand.
mhm,
Mine just turned 5, right? They don't understand, but they do, if that makes sense. So, I just had to, like, piggyback on what you said because
yeah,
it's so powerful, especially for your demographic.
mhm,
Um, so what is applied neurology? It's like this. So, I'm picturing myself with so my sister had brain surgery. I'm sitting in the follow-up appointments with her at Stanford in California, and I'm talking to a brain surgeon, okay? Like and he was like as tall as I am. And he had like all these fellows behind him. It was like a movie. He always had like 10 people following him and like taking notes and literally you would say probably one of the smartest people in the world or in
mhm,
at least in the states in this department, right, of brainstem tumors. And so this is someone who studies neurology to the fiber in their beings, right? They know way more than me. I'm not a doctor. I'm not that smart. I don't do brain surgery, like all the things. Way smarter, right? The missing link is applying it. So that's the part to me that just gives me chills because that's why it's applied neurology.
mm,
So knowing all this stuff, how does it practically apply in a human being's actual life? And that's where learning neurology can change everything, right? So, for example, if you learn something super basic from either my social media or a master class I teach or whatever it is, in some of them somewhere, I'll teach how all the signals coming in from your outside world go through your brainstem first and end up in the cortex. So you picture a piece of broccoli, right? There's the floret like head, and then there's the stem. So you've got a stem and you've got a poof. I know you guys can't see me right now, but just picture like a big old head of broccoli you would buy at the grocery store. It has a stem and it has a poof. Everything in your outside environment goes through the stem first and then ends up in the poof. Okay, so why should you care about that? Well, in the poof is how you behave in a social setting, your judgment, your executive function, creativity, and ideas. So to me, it's like, is that person really shy and weird? Or do they just have confusing, inappropriate signals coming in that need to be cleared up?
Mm,
And that might be light sensitivity in one eye, weak hearing in the left ear, and the right side of my jaw is numb. Just some random examples, right? Those are very valid, real things people deal with, not realizing that gets put through the brainstem and then distributed throughout the cortex, throughout the poof. So if it's coming in confused and inappropriate, we're adults navigating the world with confused and inappropriate signals.
mm.
And all we had to do was work on a weak left ear, the numb jaw, and light sensitivity in one eye. Like, that is so doable, right? Like,
Yeah,
not a hard task.
yeah. And
That could
even if it
literally
doesn't
change.
Yeah, and even if it doesn't necessarily work, there's no harm, no foul. Think of all the crazy
It's
things that we try out of desperation, looking for
yeah.
answers, especially when it comes to our babies. It's like you would do anything, but like knowing that this is a possibility that is harmless and that might change everything for you. Like, you know, this is making me think of something else I want to talk about, but I don't want to cut you off. So, for nervous system, like I I love what you just explained about everything that's coming in for us, and I feel like to tie that to parents that are in here or thinking about your kids, maybe they have a sensory sensitivity, maybe they have something that no one else has been able to support them in or that you're still seeking answers for. How does how does the nervous system play into all of that in terms of tangible, like here's the applied functional neurology, the like help us understand what that means.
Okay, understand what means about it.
Like understanding that, okay, it's not just that. So I think a lot of times with parents specifically, and I know that this isn't just about parents, but I think when we look at our kids, right, and they are struggling with something, let's say that they have auditory sensitivity, or let's say, you know what, let's not even talk kids. Let's say overstimulation for me. I have auditory overstimulation, right? Like that is a big piece of my having ADHD. So something that is noxious to me and overstimulating to me doesn't bother my husband at all, right? Like he'll be like, "Who cares? Like who cares if the kids they're just being kids?" And I'm like, "No, you don't understand. It's like all of these other things." And I think that part of what gets lost in these conversations is the importance of knowing that it's not just about the noise. Like it's your entire nervous system, right? Like because that noise might not bother me on a day where work went great, where I got all my stuff done, I got a workout in, but today it's sending me over the edge. So I think I would just love to like break it way down for specifically anyone that doesn't have any sort of background in this to understand like that nothing is happening in isolation. Like there's all these other factors, and that's where understanding but also having an intervention option is like life changing. So like
Yeah.
what does it mean when you say you you had, mild hearing loss and you can address, how can you address it? Like what are you pulling in to address that? Does that make sense? I feel like I'm trying to just like
Yeah.
simplify this a little bit for,
Yeah, yeah.
like make it tangible kind of.
Yeah, so let's do it like that. So let's say there is mild hearing loss in the left ear. Okay. So or we could use your example, either one. So a couple things happen, right? That matter. So if the left ear doesn't hear as well as it could, so optimal function or close to it, the body is sacrificed. So I always tell people everything above the head or above the neck, everything above the neck influences everything below it. And so I make people go like this, like prom pose.
Mhm.
Everything above the neck influences everything below it. And the first thing your brain will sacrifice is your body, which is what we would call the proprioceptive system. The left ear doesn't hear well. So the brain goes, you know what? You're wasting my resources and calories. I'm going to move the right ear to midline so that I can predict faster and quicker to protect you and save you. So now you have yourself or a child always rotated to the left because the right ear is being forced to midline. But here's the thing, this is a good thing in your brain's perspective, right? Like it's always trying to reserve and conserve, and it's always about survival. So if a saber-toothed tiger was around, you want that right ear forward because your left
Mhm.
ear doesn't hear that well. So it's not a bad thing to compensate. It's a good thing, and we're all wired to do it. But what's happening is, okay, so now you have a 7-year-old and they're like, Mommy, my neck feels tight or my neck hurts. And you go get massages and ice or hot pad or whatever, right? And now a year has passed and they're still complaining of neck pain. And now it's traveled down to the left low back. And then it ping pongs to the right knee and then left ankle. And we simply could have worked on the left ear to try to bring homeostasis to that body
Mm.
and it to rotate less, right? Is that a helpful example of
It is. And I think what it makes me think of is, there have been, so parents here, one of your kids, maybe they had torticollis, right? Torticollis is super common. It's when we have a tilt in one direction, rotation in the opposite. And it can be a true musculoskeletal thing that we just need to work through, maybe from in utero, whatever. Um,
yes.
but there have been times where I've had a little one that I'm like, okay, they're in that position, the classic torticollis position, right? But I'm like, there's no limitation range of motion. Like they're fine. Peeling back layers, we figure out that it's like, what came first, the chicken or the egg? It wasn't really a torticollis. They're positioning that way because they have a visual cut or there's a visual deficit and they can only see something if they angle their head in this certain way. But now, because we're in that position all day long, now we have tightness that's developing. And that tightness now is maybe not only the neck, maybe now they're not going to use the one hand as much because they're looking in the other direction. They don't even know about this hand. Or maybe now we're looking at like trunk limitations and scoliosis and it just filtering all the way down the body. So that is what that made me just think of, because I feel like it's there. It's real. Like, you know, yeah.
Yes, and just think about that little thing, right? So 80% of clients or baby they could have that. And then but there's always this like percentage
Mhm.
where you kind of wish you knew something else. You know what
Yes.
I mean? Like most of them you're like, yes, muscular, skeletal, yes. Check, check, check. But then this one you're like, huh,
Mhm.
something, so it's kind of about having that toolbox of like when you need it, you wish you had it already instead of
Yeah.
needing it and then trying to learn about it. And that's kind of where I stand in in my space of education is you're mostly going to be good with your expertise, right? Like I'm talking like 80% of the time, you are a professional, you are an expert, you have a whole business. There just might be a couple where you're like, man, I wish I knew about the visual system because this
Totally.
eyeball's floating around looking at Pluto and I'm trying to work on this calf.
Yeah. Yeah.
you know,
So why does it work? Why let's go to back to the opposing joints, because this is really fascinating to me. Like, can you explain why? What does that mean? What does opposing joints mean, like in a basic explanation, but also in a way that is like, what does that really mean?
yeah, so if we change topics to opposing joints, it's a little bit different of a filter. It's still neuro, but think about what I had said earlier. So when you're walking, if you were to just freeze, like freeze dance, you look down and your lower limb is moving with your opposite upper limb. So it's either left leg forward with right arm forward or right leg forward with left arm forward. My joke is no one walks like a GI Joe, right? Like right
Mhm.
leg, right arm, left leg, left arm. Like
Mhm.
no one does that because it's not how we're wired. Um, we call it bipedal movement. So
Mhm.
so how it works is that it's a reflexive, hardwired way that we move. And the force production from the heel strike literally goes from the left heel up into the right arm and right TMJ, and
Mm.
vice versa, both ways. So if you have TMJ issues, it can affect a left Achilles. It's bing ping ping pong, back and
Yeah.
forth.
Yeah.
So that's the simplest way to think about it, because
Mhm.
right now, if you're listening to this, you could literally just hit pause, think for a second, and that would make sense to you. You'd be like,
Mhm.
okay, correct. No one walks right arm, right leg at the same time. It's
Mhm.
always opposite. And then there's a whole neurostratosphere around how signals cross over and end up in certain places that affect our autonomics, which is like breathing, sweating, blood pressure, heart rate, pupil size, like all these things.
Mhm.
So, opposing joints is this whole beautiful topic, but boiled down, it's just think of opposite, right? So, if you're listening, I want you to think about your left toes are correlated to your right fingers. Left ankle, right wrist, left knee, right elbow, left hip, right shoulder.
Mm.
So, for example, my 5-year-old, she just turned 5. She's in gymnastics and she said, "Mommy, my hip hurts." And she's like touching her hip flexors. Obviously, she doesn't know what they are, but she's saying my hip hurts. And I start rubbing her left shoulder. This is a temporary fix, you could say, right? Just to get through class. Like, "Oh, I'm so sorry, sweetie." Okay. And then I rub her left shoulder. I skin stimulate the whole area so that the receptors that make you feel good are very focused on left shoulder. She gets through the rest of the class totally fine. And then I'll deal with that after. But again, tiny real moment,
Mhm.
but it was a real mom moment, right? Where
Mhm.
just knowing a little bit of neuro helped for 40 minutes of a class still left, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And so that is really the ticket there, is that skin stimulation and mobility on the opposing joint? Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Yes. Or and or whatever your treatment style is, right? Cuz massage therapy, acupuncture, chiropractic, whatever you do and you like, Reiki, I
Mm.
don't care, but it's the neuro combined with you and your thought process. And I mean, that's my favorite thing about neurology is everyone has a brain. So you take it and mold it with your beliefs and methods and approaches
Yeah.
because I don't do any of those things,
Mhm. Mhm. But
right?
again,
So,
it's understanding the interconnection of all of those things and the way that we move and the way that we navigate. I mean, even if you think about if the walking doesn't add up for you, think about the way your little one crawls, right? Like their right hand is going forward, their left leg is moving forward, and they have to be doing that alternating reciprocal pattern, which is why crawling matters so much, right? Like that is communication between both sides of the brain. It's all of those things. Um but then it translates into being upright as well, and I think that just having that little tool in your toolbox to say like, "Okay, I can try to address it the way I've always addressed it, and if that works or if it doesn't work, here's another option." Understanding, again, that, like, overarching theme that nothing happens in isolation in our bodies. Um, I love that. Okay, let's circle back to what we were talking about before with the input that the brain is getting, the importance of things like cranial nerves, of the nervous system. Like what is let me put it this way. What is like your this is the hill I will die on. This is why cranial nerves matter. This is why the nervous system matters. Like what is like your passion statement? That's what I want to hear.
I mean, I should probably have that crafted. Um, I Chat GPT help me. The hill I die on, right, is so I've been doing this so long. And, as a professional, you go through all these phases, like these 3 years, I was all about this. And then for these 5 years, this was the answer. And you know what I mean? Like we all do
Yeah.
it. It's like,
Yeah.
I was going to save the world with essential oils for a time in my life. Like
Yeah.
we have all these phases. And it's like now that I'm 15 years out, I have 2 kids, a baby on the way. And just it, for me, cranial nerves solve a lot of freaking problems. Like
Mhm.
that's what it boils down to. And when you think about it, so definitely don't let the name intimidate you. It just means nerves in your brain. And they are considered a part of your peripheral nervous system, which
Mhm.
means all those nerves that you see online that like go through arms and legs. And we all have seen these images, whether you're in the profession or not. And it's like, wow, if everything above the neck affects everything below it, and all signals have to go through the brainstem first, wouldn't that be a really good place to start
Mhm.
to support that person's brain and body and movement? And it's just been a profound experience for me as a professional, right? Because I'll have people that, I've had knee pain for 20 years and like I work with them 3 or 4 times and I don't have to see them again.
Mhm.
Just approaching it from a different lens and how it actually works. So the brain does prioritize systems, right? And the proprioceptive system is not high up there.
Mhm.
But when you have left knee pain, what does everyone want to work on?
The knee.
The left knee. Your glutes, quads, and hamstrings are weak or whatever it is. Let's do more of that. And okay, cool. Maybe that works for some people, but for most people, it doesn't, right? But then when you learn about the brain stem, how we talked about that broccoli stem and then the poof, the brain stem is where the autonomic nervous system lives. And that's what controls like the illogical old lizard part of us that's like hungry now,
Mhm.
hangry, like must eat. It's like that very barbaric, illogical, emotional side of us. If your spouse is like, wow, you get hangry, that's the brainstem.
Mhm.
um, and then knowing cranial nerves, so nerves of the brain and nerves of the cranium, are direct access to autonomics. Direct anatomical, traceable, tangible. I mean, it gives me chills. It's like,
Mhm.
shouldn't we all be doing this if it's
Mhm.
the direct way to change and influence autonomics in any way, shape, or form? Okay.
Yeah.
So you don't even have to have anything unquote wrong with any of your cranial nerves, but making sure they're all being used, just like a use it or lose it type thing. Like, if you don't practice staring at a target and shaking your head no, can you say that your inner ear is healthy and optimally functioning?
Mhm.
The eyes and inner ear have to be trained
Interesting.
unless you're daily going to a playground and flipping upside down and getting on a swing and you're a circus actor. Like, you know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like, there's very few people in the world that train their eyes and inner ear every day intentionally.
Mhm.
A
And what does that mean?
child
What does that look like?
does.
Oh, okay. Wait, sorry, go back to that. And then
Yeah,
we'll
so like a child does it every day. And then you'll notice the type of movements that child does is probably the stimulus they need, right? So you know those blue balls that like are in fitness now, but the original design was for vestibular rehab,
uh,
to get a kid to sit on a ball and bounce. That's training their inner ear. So if you look at your kids and what they do, you're like, "Man, that one loves to spin. That one loves to hang. This one loves to go upside down." And you start like looking, you're like, interesting. They will demand the stimulus that their brain wants. They will
mhm,
do it,
mhm,
against it's dinner time, and you're like,
mhm.
get in here. And they're still bouncing.
Yeah.
It's so that's the beautiful thing about watching little people is they kind of show you the stimulus they need just by how they move. Adults, we're a little bit trickier, Um, but okay, so I'm on a tangent. So that's the hill I'm like, ah! Is it's just so simple. Okay, a girlfriend of mine, she had I want to say how old are you in a little bouncer? Like 18 months when you're like sitting in the little bouncer thing?
Oh,
Eight,
probably a little earlier.
12,
Yeah,
early.
probably
Okay.
closer to like 10. Yeah.
It's like I can't even remember. Okay, so you're
I know,
little,
right?
little, little. And she
Yeah.
had one eye that just the baby had one eye that just loved to be what we would say deviated to the side, but just off to the side. Right
Mhm,
eye straight, left eye out where it is. What options are you given? Is it surgery? Is it this? Is it that? And it's like trying to have it be the least stressful as possible. I would just say, you know what? Let's just start really simple. Just stand on her right as often as you can.
mm,
So her left eye has to go over there.
mhm,
So you're doing a workout on this muscle of the eye, which is on the inside of the left eye that I'm pointing at, without doing rehab,
mhm.
right? And then she noticed a couple weeks later her eye was better. It was such a simple cue, though. Like, just
Mhm,
again, those tiny little realistic, achievable things. Well, I can do that.
mhm,
Put her toys on the right, whatever you need to, just have her eye get really comfortable going that way. Since obviously this one's the outside muscle of the eye is either over contracting or the inside one's too lax, whatever,
mhm.
we don't know. But what if we could avoid some irreversible surgery just by learning a little bit of stuff?
Yeah. So this is mind blowing to me because this is the hill I will die on. That a pretty I don't want to say across the board, but I think in terms of our healthcare system in the US in general, we love addressing what is directly in front of us, right? Like your right knee hurts, we're going to work that right knee. Very infrequently are there professionals who are looking at the root? Like, why is that happening? And what can I address at like a bigger level that is not just looking at the symptoms, right? Like that to me could change everything, right? Like having the time, having the knowledge to literally be like, okay, it's the eye is the problem, like, but why? What is it? The muscle? Is it like tease that out and go for the root and watch like that trickle down effect? And I think that understanding what you're talking about and having that knowledge of anatomy and the body and kinesiology and how it all works together could literally like cut treatment times in half, could change people's lives with because you're not just putting band-aids on it anymore. You're understanding why it's happening and you're addressing it. Like that's the hill I'll die on. That like we need to get to the root of the issue, right? Like, yeah. Ugh.
Just
Okay.
thinking bigger, like you said, like it's always like just thinking bigger. Okay, why is her eye doing that?
Uh-huh.
You know that a muscle is innervated by a nerve. We should care about that.
Uh-huh.
What nerve is it?
Uh-huh.
Where does it come from? It's cranial nerve 3? Interesting. What else does cranial nerve 3 do? It helps with dilation of the pupils. It does eyelid. It does other movements of the eye than just the in one. It does all kinds of stuff. So, what if cranial nerve 3 is responsible for, let's say, 8 things for a human body? Only one of them is like a real problem. Why don't we do the other 7? Like shine a little light in the eye, do some, it sounds ridiculous, but like eyelid resistance training,
Uh-huh.
because 3 is also responsible for eyelid. Like, how can we support the issue without it being like wrong or bad or dysfunctional or weak or whatever it is? It's just, to me, it's just a request for attention. It's like this, I always tell people, it's like, excuse me, help? Anybody? It
Totally.
I honestly, I don't love the words dysfunctional and, like, weak, because if someone says it to me, I'm like, "I'm not dysfunctional," "How dare you?" Like, because 'cause I'm
Yeah,
too
yeah.
competitive, so I'm always like, "That muscle is requesting a little more attention,"
Uh-huh.
and it started as a whisper, and now it's screaming, and
Yeah,
now we're like,
totally.
"Okay, okay, okay, I will try to help you," right?
Totally.
And then thinking about it, okay, so you're like, okay, cranial nerve 3, because a muscle's innervated by a nerve. The nerve really matters. Is it healthy? Where does that come from? Then the surrounding nerves also support. So if 3 is an issue, you can work on 2 and 4
Uh-huh.
to support it. Like the rising tide lifts all ships.
I love it.
There's just so much we can do.
Yeah, yeah. Totally. And okay, so let's I have two questions as we like wrap this up because this honest to God,
Yes.
I could talk about this all day. Like I'm this is
I love it. I'm so glad we're
me
doing
too.
this.
Me too. Okay. Question number 1. W- Is there a way that let's say a parent looking for integrating being able to someone who can integrate this into their child's treatment or whatever, is there a provider, a certification, something they could look for to say like, okay, this person knows what I want them to know to address this thing? And if so, what is that people can look for?
Yes. So all of my certifications, not all of them, but the big bulk of like what opened my eyes to neuro is a company called Z Health, Z like zebra. And the doctor is Dr. Eric Cobb. And to me, he's like a genius walking around Earth with mortals. Like it's I I'm just like, how does
Yeah.
your brain do that? So I paid him a lot of money to make things compact and put into certifications, right? Because I'll start to go down these rabbit holes to like justify through research and blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, okay, he's already done it.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna pay him because that's crazy. I mean, he has been known to read like 100 neuro articles a day,
Oh my God.
which, as you know, could be short. Like they're
Yeah, yeah.
short, but to make them like real and applicable, like you are some kind of like genius. Like I don't know.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's called Z Health. I think the website is zhealtheducation.com. Um, it wouldn't be hard to find, or it's Z Health Performance. It's one of those. Um, and so what they have is they have this awesome Find a Trainer tab,
Cool.
and you literally just click on the tab, type in your zip code, and see if there's a practitioner near you. And now, of course, nowadays you can kind of work with anyone from anywhere if you're open to virtual.
Mm.
So I was taking clients virtually 100% up until like 2 years ago. And then I just started realizing movement professionals were where I got really passionate about it because there's only a ceiling on how many patients I can or clients I can see a day.
Yeah.
So if I help one professional, they help their whole roster and their whole
Yeah.
community, right? So, um, yeah, so basically that's what I would look for is a Z Health practitioner.
And
Um,
we'll put the link
and
to
then
that in the show notes so that if you are searching for that, but then also we are absolutely going to link yours too so that people have that.
yeah,
And can,
perfect.
yeah. Okay. Amazing.
Yeah.
I would love to wrap this up with like a tangible tip. Like if you could be like everybody in the world should be doing this every single day, what would it be? Like what can people literally get off this call, and is it moving their head and looking at a target? Like is there one thing that you're like, or three things that you're like every single day everybody should do this? That's a really hard
It's
question. Sorry.
I
I
know
hit you
it's
with
a
a hard one.
yes and it's a yes and only because sometimes that person's nervous system is so threatened by their history.
Mm.
I don't wanna say you have to do an eye exercise, but when you do them, it makes you throw up. Like, we're
Yeah,
not
yeah,
doing that.
yeah.
That is a no-go. I'm a very, like I'm not like a no pain, no gain person. Like, no, the brain does not like threat, okay? So, um, if I had to pick and I knew it wouldn't upset or trigger anything, right? My first thought is breath work. Just
Mm,
being able to control on demand, on command, all the different types of breathing techniques, creating that intelligent, skillful mastery of breath that can help downregulate you in a state where you needed it. It helps with vagus nerve function. It helps with the diaphragm, which we can get into a whole thing, right? Like the diaphragm's innervated by the phrenic nerve that comes out of your neck. You could help neck issues. So, and then the pelvic floor. I mean, to me, it's a big bang for your buck. Simple, maybe not easy, but simple thing you could start to master and just learn from different people. Like, cool, I've heard of box breathing. I've heard of triple your exhale. I've heard of breath holds. I've heard of oxygen deprivation where you're fully exhaling and seeing how you react to that. All the things. So that's one thing I would say. And like I said, if I knew it wouldn't threaten, I would say eyes and inner ear. But I've been doing this long enough to where I know, like, I don't know if every single person on earth should be doing it. We should all be aware of it. You should be able to move your eyes and head in every position without having a negative response.
yeah,
Should.
yeah.
We can work our way to that. Smell. Smell is one of the easiest, simplest, non-threatening ways that someone can reduce global pain in their body.
Mm.
You just bust out something non-toxic. It has to be non-toxic. It cannot be like perfume, soap, lotion. It like pick up a lemon and scratch it. That would be better, right? And I always say you ask 3 questions. You plug one nostril, and so you guys have something tangible to walk away. I'm going to plug right nostril, bring the smell to the left side. Do you smell anything, yes or no? Yes, I do. Okay, great. Can you identify it? Yeah, I think it's peppermint. Okay, great. Can you visualize peppermint while you're smelling peppermint? Yeah, I think I got it. I got it. Okay, great. Reassess your pain or your range of motion or tissue supple, like whatever you were testing. I don't know, especially with babies. I don't know. But see what happens, and it will blow your mind. Like,
Mm,
absolutely blow your mind, right? There's
I
12
love it.
cranial nerves. 10 of them sit in the brainstem inside, but 2 of them sit on top, like little hats. Smell is one of those that lives outside of the brainstem, but has smell activates a minimum of 7 different parts of your brain
Wow.
when you smell, identify, and visualize.
Wow.
It has a cortex in the temporal lobe. Like it's way more than you could ever think. Like you could never comprehend the magnitude of the importance of smell because it's a survival thing, right? So if you can't smell fire, you're dead. Like that's how the brain works, right? So smell is the second thing I would say. And then yeah, if I had to choose, I would at least get to eyes and inner ears somehow
Yeah,
in a
I love it.
non-threatening way. Like
I think that's
an
perfect.
eye circle. Like you hold your head still with 2 finger pads and you make a basketball shaped circle with your finger out in front of you. Go one direction. Sorry, one time each direction. And then you at least know you've done that with your eyeballs that day.
Mhm. Yeah,
At least,
I
right?
love it.
If you
I
did
love it.
nothing else, you moved your eyes all around.
I love it. We're seeing it, we're smelling it, and we're breathing. I just want to add one piece to the breathing
Yes.
thing because I think a lot of I just did a podcast episode on this, but it'll be way in the past by the time this comes out. So I'm just going to reiterate
Okay.
this piece. One of the most powerful things, and parents, this is for you. If you hear like breathing techniques and you're like, oh yeah, my 5-year-old's gonna or my 3-year-old's gonna sit and do breathing techniques, like, okay, Casey and Missy, that you need to hear what I'm about to say. So there is a really incredible way that you can literally get your child to regulate their breathing without saying a word to them, without having to teach them anything. If you sit with your child, either if you're holding them or if you're just sitting with like their back against your chest, and you start to regulate your breathing, right? Like your entire trunk is in contact with their entire trunk in some way, they will mimic. If you give them the time, they will mimic and regulate their breathing to match your exact breathing pattern. So like start copying their breathing pattern and then immediately back off and start doing what you want them to do, and truly like give it a minute and they will start to do it. And I have done that with, I mean, it's a part of pretty much every treatment session that I have to get them to that regulated place without being like, okay, in through your nose, out through your mouth, make the paper move, blow out the candle, like, because that's a lot too, you know? So if they're okay with being touched, that is like a super powerful way to get that breathing regulation without the auditory input too. Yeah, I just wanted to share that.
So valuable. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just learned something. I'm gonna go do that today.
It is mind-blowing. It's still like I have been in this field, it's been 15 years, and I still, when it works, and it always works, I'm always like, like
You're like,
it's
that
so
was it.
cool.
I
Yeah.
just had to do that.
Except I just had to breathe and then you would start to breathe, you know, like it's very, very
Like,
cool.
think about that. You're doing that exercise, and what if you had on like a diffuser with like
Mhm.
orange citrus in the thing, you know, and it's like, that's what I'm talking about, the like hacks. And
Yeah.
it doesn't have to be rehab.
Yes.
It
Totally.
You gamify it, especially with kids, especially with
Mhm.
kids.
Yeah. And like literally I do that still with my kids if they walk out of school and I can see it on their face that they are just like on another level. I'm picking them up, I'm holding them and I'm starting the breathing and within 5 minutes you're going to see a difference. So I hope that helps. I honestly I really could talk about this forever. This was awesome. Thank you so much for being here. And please tell everyone one more time where they can find you, where they can find more information about you, all of the good stuff.
Yeah, just missybunch.com is the easiest thing. I'm very active on social media. Missy Bunch 15 is my Instagram. I love hearing from people. I love learning and connecting. So thank you so much for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. We'll see you guys next time on another episode of More Than Milestones.